right, now this is a melodic lick with double stops. Now here we're starting to really get into some offbeat things, offbeat rhythms, but it's not too bad. We're just tying like an eighth note to an eighth note like you've done before. But here the tie is the last eighth note of the measure into the first eighth note of the next measure. So it might be a little trickier to count. Like if you're trying to count the first two measures, and now on the quarter notes you could leave out the and, like on the third beat there you got a quarter note. You could just say 3, 4, and. If you know these rhythms pretty well, it helps to count all the ands if you're a little bit uncertain about the rhythms. But I'll try to count it. I'm going to probably count it without the ands on the quarter notes. So it'd be like, and when you're doing it faster, that helps you to think faster and count faster, like 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now notice I gave a little kick to that tie for and 1. I played it a little harder, and that's the effect of a tie often is, that's what we call syncopated rhythms. It almost sounds like you're hitting the first beat of the next measure an eighth note early. So you want to hit it on like a hammer, and it feels like you're doing the downbeat early, but it's tying through. Again, I think of a tie kind of like a horse galloping along in a regular speed and then suddenly jumping over a fence. The tie is sort of the jumping over the fence. We suspend the rhythm for a moment, and that's part of the effect of ties. So if we're doing this slowly, let me like 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So notice I count the one that I'm not playing. 4 and 1 and 2 and. You want to count the counts in a syncopated rhythm that you don't play. I think it's very important to, because the count is very real, it's still there. You don't just delete it because you're not playing it. It counts. There's a lot of counts that are going to be there that you don't play in music. That's going to happen all the time. So, and then on the end of the second measure, I just went 3, 4. So you want to get a sense of how the quarter note feels. So you're going. See? So the quarter note is sort of the backbone of the rhythm. It's the steady. So when you get to quarter notes, you don't have to count the 3 and 4 and, because that can be a little tedious for one thing. Plus you want to think of the quarter note rhythm at the same time that you're also thinking about the eighth note rhythms. So you think of quarter notes and then eighth notes, like that. So now, when we get to the double stops, you're going to use your third finger. Now, I should mention what double stops are. It's a violin term, and it would be any time that you play 2 strings of a violin, no matter what the interval is. You could have this interval, or you could have this interval, or this one, or this one, or an octave. Now in rock guitar, and you know, I just sort of got the drift of this, when a rock guitarist like Dweezil Zappa, I remember talking about double stops. And basically it means that you're just playing straight across. For most rock guitar players, it's playing 2 strings, but both of them at the same fret, and you're either barring your third finger or first finger. Often it's first and third fingers. And it almost sounds, those are perfect fourths. Like the guitar is tuned mostly in perfect fourths. And it's a lot like the typical old Hollywood Chinese music. That's the sound of fourths. Or in the case of Deep Purple, it's like Smoke on the Water. Those are fourths. Okay, so the double stops in this case are just straight across. You're going to use your third finger on the 7th fret, and you got a tie there. It's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then move your third finger 2 frets. Don't use first finger yet. You will, but you'll go third finger on the 7th again, and 2 and 3 and 4, third finger on the 5th, and then the last one is first finger. Now that one does really basically the same rhythm, but it changes strings right where the tie is, and it's a little tricky. And then you have double stops at the end. I'm sorry. Don't forget the last note. Make sure you count it correctly, like you're going 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So it ends kind of like it's tied into a quarter note, and then you have to feel that beat. Don't play it, and then you play the 4th beat. Okay, so I'm going to go through it slowly, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Try to feel the quarter notes. 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and first finger. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay? I'll play it fast again. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's fun to play fast. You could take a little extra time before you hit that last note. It's the end of the song, right? So it's like putting on the brakes, coming to a stop sign, you slow down just a little bit. All right, have fun with that.